Hey guys, with me is another fantastic investor that is going to be speaking at the Real Estate Wealth Builders Conference, or RUBCon for short, RUBCon 2022. And this investor is going to be bringing down the house. He's such a great personality, as well as is a fantastic investor. And I have Alex Felice on here with me. Alex, thank you so much for being on.
Thank you for having me. I am pumped about the event. Very excited.
You and I have been friends, but not many people like that. Not everybody's going to know you. So tell us about yourself and how you got started investing.
Look, if they don't know me, they're making mistakes. Starters. Let's get that out of the way. I got started in real estate. I think I don't know. Like to me, it feels like a very common story. Somebody is in a rat race in a W-2. They don't like it. They look at real estate and they're like, man, cash flow can save me and change my life. And so I said, yeah, I did that. I believed that. And so I went off and I started buying rentals. I thought it was going to take me 10 years to buy 10 rentals. This was in 2014. So, just the voices in the space, there wasn't as much education yet. It wasn't as popular. So it seemed a little bit more daunting. Now I meet 25-year-old kids that have 30 properties. It's ridiculous. So I thought it'd take me 10 years to get 10 properties. It took me 3 years to get 9. And so I was like, okay, this is way easier than I had anticipated, and I'm way more capable than I realized. That's when I looked at it, I'm like, okay, single family rental real estate for me is a really good retirement plan, but it's not a scalable business model, not really. So I started moving towards multifamily in 2019, and then I bought a 24 unit, bought a 52 unit, and now I'm part of a full-time private equity firm, and we're going to buy 65 million in real estate this year. So
That's
I
amazing.
did this all within the last 10 years now. I'm going to talk to people about the transition from single to multifamily because I think that's a very also common theme because people realize pretty quickly, like, oh, I don't want 30 of these. Some people do. Nothing wrong with it. But a lot of people are like, this is a lot of work, 30 freaking properties. So let's get 30 properties in one transaction rather than 30 single families.
I love it. And you did mention what you're going to be talking about. So at the Real Estate Wealth Builders Conference, or RUBCon, you're going to be coming in and sharing your experience as well as the insights. So talk to us a little bit more, like flesh that out a little bit. And so people are going to say, man, I really got to go listen to Alex.
Yeah, again, I think it's a common theme. People that get into single family, they get a few, they're like, okay, I can do this, but you see the flaws pretty quickly. If you only own 1 or 2 properties, then maybe having 10 or 15 or 20 seems appealing. But when you get to that 10 number, and you're like, wow, now I can't get Fannie Mae mortgages, right? And now, like, from a transaction standpoint, it's a headache. Every transaction is the same amount of headache, whether it's 50 units or 1 unit. So you start to really see the appeal of doing bigger properties. And so I did that challenge in 2019. I went off and I raised $280,000, which to some people is a lot. To some people is freaking blip, nothing. But it was hard for me. And we bought a 24 unit. We turned it around. We exited that property actually in 2 years and paid our investors a 50% return. Very happy with that. In 2020, I raised 1.4 million from a 300 person email list, by the way. We did a 506B syndication. We it was a complicated deal. $3.2 million, 52 units. We took that down. We are exceeding our projections by quite a big margin, and I was at the lead of both deals. And that's kind of when I learned I don't want to wait another 8 years to figure out that I want to scale up. So what I really wanted to do was like really take this thing to the next level. And so I checked my ego a little bit, took a step back from like trying to figure it all out on my own, and I joined an existing team that was kind of at the ground floor but growing. They have a lot of experience.
You're basically playing Monopoly, which is brilliant. You start with land and you get house and then house after house. And eventually you get to multifamily, where that's where you really start making money.
Yeah, and now we have the resources and the experience to do some really interesting things. We're about to put an offer in today on a $25 million resort RV park in Florida. And so again, 8 years ago, I was just figuring out how to buy my first. In 2016 is when I bought my first like actual dedicated rental that I didn't live in. So I know what people feel like to be like, hey, I'm just getting started, or I've been doing a little bit and I know that I want to transition. I need to start learning. I know that story. I just lived that story, and I can teach that story and some of the insights. I also spent a bunch of years in commercial bank risk analysis. So I know how the bank and lending side work really well, which is usually helpful because that's part many people get stuck on.
That's great. Now, tell us about your ideas of utilizing something like RubeCon, a conference, in more than just going to learn. Obviously, learning information is great, but also the community and networking and actually even just making friends. Talk to us a little bit about that.
Real estate information is not that valuable, right? It really isn't. There's nothing that I can tell anybody that isn't on the internet already that they can find and get for free. I'm so sorry. But luckily, real estate is not a real estate business. It is a people business. I don't invest in real estate. I invest in people. I don't care about real estate. I only care about people. And so I go to 4 or 5 conferences a year and I go to very few properties a year, right? And my whole career is based on, well, I'm a networking monster, okay? So if you can do half the networking that I do, you're going to be in really good shape. You come to Rubicon for lack of a better term, for access, to build relationships, to be around people who are doing this thing because the game is long, right? And so like Dustin's going to be, he's going to succeed for the next 20, 30 years. And now we're tied for life. So I'm going there to plant seeds that are going to harvest just like real estate. You buy a house today, it cash flows 200-300 bucks. In 10 years, it cash flows 500-600. In 30 years, it's paid off and it cash flows 2,000, right? I'm playing the long game here. It's not about Rubicon, it's about the relationships that are going to last you a lifetime. And they start, dude, you and I met in 2017 at FinCon, and now look where we are, right? What's going to happen in 2027?
I 100% agree. I know my life as I keep pushing to grow my businesses. I find that other people are doing the same thing as we're working together. We're talking like one of the first people I called. I was like, man, I got to talk to Alex. I'm going to be put on this conference. He is like the master networker. Like he knows almost every single person that I know, if not more, like 100 times more. And so I was like, man, we got to bring Alex because he's going to help people feel comfortable. Not necessarily feel comfortable. That's not his forte. He's going to help people realize it's going to sound like a dig because Alex is fun. He's honest. He's going to tell you exactly like it is, which is so needed in today's world now. And if you have somebody like Alex on your team, and in fact, Alex, I'm definitely like, make sure that you're getting me all the information on your next deals. I definitely want to start investing with you and all this great stuff. But it just comes down with, we know each other. If we didn't know each other, we wouldn't be networking and be talking. He wouldn't be at RubeCon and we wouldn't potentially be doing deals together. It's all about meeting more people and helping more people at the same time.
Yeah, and Rubicon, I'm really excited about because I go to big conferences and big conferences have their value, but it's easy to get lost in the weeds. It's easy to go spend 3 or 4 days at a conference with 2,000, 2,500 people and meet, you're going to meet a couple dozen people and you just might not meet the right people. And that's just part of the game. You got to do a lot if you want to get in front of people. But Rubicon, it's going to be a couple hundred people and it's going to be intimate. And like all the speakers kind of know each other. It's going to be really easy to get access to people who are doing things. And really like, if you're new, bro, this is an easy way to kickstart to like really get an edge and ahead and get to know people in this industry fast. And, if I'm really excited about this conference. It's in Phoenix, which is as a city I love. So this is going to be really dope. And the speaker list you picked is fantastic. Only problem is we all kind of know each other. It's like a trade-off. It's like I'm inviting people, but it's the same social group that all the other speakers have. But that also means that the speakers are we're gonna be able to provide like compound value. Like, hey, like let's go out and what we need to do actually is get reservations for like a bar or an event. Because if the speakers all say, hey, we're gonna be at this bar, it's like the whole conference is gonna show up.
Oh man, I agree. Well, Friday night is open. Friday night for dinner. Anybody, if we want to do something, actually, Alex, let me put you in charge of that. If you want to do that, I'm there.
I don't want to do. I'm an idea guy. Okay, I don't do
I know
things.
you are. That's why I did that.
Yeah.
No, that's a great idea, though. That's something I definitely want to do. But man, Alex, this is great. So if people want to reach out to you or even listen to you on your podcast, tell them a little bit about you and where they could find you.
I'm the co-host of the Military to Millionaire podcast. I got that gig, which is now I think we're at 7,000 downloads a month. Right, it's a pretty serious thing. And I met David at the same conference I met you at FinCon. So another reason why going to these things really, really can set your trajectory different. If you want to learn more about how we invest or be part of our deals, climbcapital.com. And if you want to hear more about what I do, my personal website is brokeisAchoice.com. Very transparent. My whole story from finding my first property to finding my 52 unit. It's all on there in very transparent detail. I sell nothing.
Alex is fantastic. You guys need to come to Rubicon to hang out with Alex. He's such a great guy. So awesome, Alex. Thank you so much for being on and sharing with us all the insights. I'm looking forward to hanging out with you again, man.